We're going to be starting out the sessions in few minutes. I hope everybody is able to see me, everybody is able to hear me properly, and everybody is able to see the screen properly. Can I get a quick confirmation from people? Okay, so wonderful. Uh, First of all, thank you very much for rejoining, and I'm really sorry for the last session, which because it got cancelled due to the internet issue. I'll be walking you through the overview of the entire FRM process. I'll be also telling you how I basically train and how the entire process of my training is going to work. FRM basically now I'm starting with the session. So in this entire discussion point, we're going to be talking about FRM, the basics of the details about the FRM exam. Like for example, what is at FRM, why you should be doing FRM, how you can become FRM, what is the fee structure, what how do you defer the exam? A lot of people are not aware about it, so I'm going to be talking on that. What is the format of the exam? Few pointers from my experience in the exam section. What has been the overall pass percentage and how the result is actually shown? What are the different kinds of job opportunities which are available? And what is the average salary that we see in the market? I'll give you a few examples also on that. Then how should you prepare for the exam? And finally, I'll move towards why Fintelligents. And I'll be also walking you through the four books and talking about what all topics are covered in these four books so that you get a good idea with respect to the exam preparation. Okay, let us start with the discussion. What exactly is an FRM? So, FRM is a global gold standard when it comes to risk management certification. And this certification exam is conducted by CARP, which is Global Association of Risk Professionals. So they have they're US based organization, but they have offices in London and China. In Mumbai also they have a representative office. Roughly around 80,000 people have till now got FRM charter holder. In India, roughly around 8,000 to 10,000 people are there. And FRM will help you to focus on the fundamentals of risk management as a subject. And the exam is conducted into two parts, level one and level two. Some certain things which you have already heard if you're preparing for FRM. Why should you become an FRM charter holder? First of all, you get an opportunity to participate in the network or discussions that are there. So you become a part of a elite group. Any certification become makes you part of that group. Like for example, I was attending one of the networking dinner meeting, and I was there because I am an FRM charter holder. So that makes a big difference in terms of your ways to getting an ability to connect with other senior people in the market. Second is that it's a global certification, so a lot of students who are preparing to go to international, for example, Australia or Canada or US, they are looking out at this certification. Why? Because if you're putting your time, energy, money, and effort towards doing something, it is not localized; it is global, so you can reap the benefit as you move to different countries. Okay, stand out in terms of employer. So more importantly, it will give you opportunity to enter into good roles, and these roles where there is more analysis, more you can say more usage of your technical understanding, okay, will always have good salaries. So it helps you to enter into those kind of roles and will open up doors for you. And also, it will create a perception for you that you know certain things. Okay, you know risk management. You are not a knave. Okay, you know certain basic concepts about risk management, and that will create your perception in the industry. And let me tell you that financial market or, for example, your corporate world, majority of the things are driven by perception. Okay, so this certification will help you to stand out when we talk about opportunities in the organization, an opportunity to connect, an opportunity to grow. Also, develop your expertise. So as you will move ahead in your career, people will recognize you for what expertise you bring on table. So when you are doing FRM, you're getting an opportunity to enter into risk management domain. And within that, you can become an expert into, say, fraud risk, into liquidity risk, or stress testing, or cyber risk. So it helps you to become an expert into a domain for which the future people will pay you. Okay, so it helps you to develop an expertise into one particular area. Okay, how can you become FRM? You must have heard about all of these things online in some other videos. It's more or less same. Okay, so you have to complete. First, you have to register yourself with GAR, then go for the level one exam. Level one exam was previously only into May and November, but now they have added August also. In this year, it is only August 5th. Then you have a level 2 exam, okay, which is also in the same time frame, May, August, and November. But the moment you complete your level 1, from that time, the 4-year window, you have to complete your level 2. Okay, if you're not able to complete, then you'll have to give level 1 again. The primary reason for this is that the curriculum is changing, the financial market is changing, and the risk they're facing is also changing. So they want people who are clearing this certification. They should have some basic understanding, and that should not remain static. And that is why they put such kind of restriction. Okay. Apart from that, you also have to submit a 2 year of experience, which is basically has to be submitted within 4 years. Now, they've changed it for 5 years, if I'm not wrong. So once you have completed your level two, suppose you complete your level two in May 2023, then say 4 years after that, that is May 2027, you have to submit your 2 years of experience. Now, major queries which a lot of students have is that what is this 2 years of experience? Because I'm working in, say, treasury, I'm working in, say, operations, or I'm into branch banking. Will my experience be counted? Okay, so let me be very clear on this front. Right now, the institute is not asking you to work into core risk domains. What is the expectation is that you have to tell us that within that 2 years, what is risk related activity that you have done. Okay, so it can be connected to your day-to-day operations also. Even if you're into accounting, you do reconciliation. That is also risk mitigation activity. So whatever you are doing on a day-to-day basis, they want you to highlight how it is connected to risk management. Okay, and show them that as a 2 year experience. How do you submit this experience? You go to their portal, submit the experience. Okay, there is no documentation that is required. It is on a good faith that they are doing it. They will evaluate. They will, if they like the experience that you have submitted, they will approve it. If they do not like, definitely, if they find loopholes, they will reject it. If your work experience submission is rejected, you can apply again. There is no problem with that. You might have to rechange the wordings and all to go with. So this is how you become an FRM charter holder. The moment you get complete your 2 years of experience requirement, you are an FRM charter holder. You can start using FRM next to your name. Okay, this is how you become FRM certified person. When is the exam conducted and what is the fee structure? So exam is conducted in 3 times in a year now, May, August, and November. These are the dates that are there for level 1 and level 2. The fees, this is what is important for every student to know. So whenever you want to become a part of the GARP Institute, you have to pay a one-time registration fee, that is $400. And there is an there is an exam sitting fee. So, and what they have done is they have bifurcated the exam sitting fee into two parts. If you submit early, then you have to pay only $600. But if you're late, then you have to pay 800. So the dates, the early bird and the standard dates for each exam is different. Okay, so you have to be very careful when you're looking at the exam month and what is the early bird date and what is the standard date. Now, for the November exam, level 1 November exam or level 2 November exam, the early bird registration is going to start from 1st of May and it will continue to 31st of July. My suggestion would be go and submit your registration, make your fee payment in the month of May itself. Do not delay. Okay. The purpose of asking you to do that is a lot of students, okay, they delay it and then they find difficulty in getting a good slot for their exam date or good location for their exam date and they face challenges. So best completed in the month of May. There's also a few more important information which is there. For example, if you have registered, there is a window called 5th to 18. Suppose I am a student and I registered the exam on say 6th of May. Now I want to change it and I want to change it to say 11th of uh, November, 11th of November. So one time I can do it for free. So there is no cost that they are asking. Okay, there is no change, there is no charge for this move. But suppose you want to move from November to May, you'll have to pay a $250 deferral charge. Okay, so that deferral charge, again, there is a time frame that we have to follow. So what are the time frames? So basically, the 250 USD dollar, if you're going for deferral, the last date of the registration. So if I'm not wrong, for November, it is going to be around end of September. That is where you can submit your deferral request. Okay, and previously what they were doing, they were asking students to defer to the immediate next exam. But now they have opened up for the next two exam cycle. You can choose whether you want to go for May or whether you want to go for August. Okay, so that is the broader structure of the deferral section. In case you are facing any query, you can post it on chat. I'll address it. Okay, as I'm moving. If I miss out on anything, don't worry. I'll wait at the end also, and I'll also address the queries. What is the format of the FRM exam, the level one? Okay, I'll address one query which is there now before I move to this slide. Date of exam can be chosen any day between yes. So the process is that once you make the fees payment to the GARP Institute, then the second step would be to schedule your exam. So in that scheduling, you'll have to schedule your date, time, and location. And date would be between that window. Right, Sushil, I've answered your query. Let me take you towards the format of level one. This is very important for you because it's the first examination that you're going to give. Level two is going to come later. So there are four books: Foundation of Risk Management, Financial Market, Quantitative Analysis, and VARM. This is which basically valuation and risk methodology. So there is 100 questions that you're going to get, and the questions that you're going to get in the exam, they are not bifurcated as per book. It's going to be jumbled. The moment you read the question, you will understand which book it is from. Okay. Next is no negative marking. There is 4 hours available for you, and in the 4 hours, you will not be able to ideally complete those 100 questions. On an average, students are able to complete roughly around 90 to 95 questions properly. Okay, if the preparation is good, and some questions they have to just do some tick. Over here, the point that you should notice is that book number 3 and book number 4 has around 60% weightage total. So majority of the questions are going to come from book 3 and book 4. Okay, do not forget this when you're preparing for the exam. Let me take you towards the book 2. Before I enter the queries I am going to address. So Anshul, answering to your query, will FRM help you to get into investment banking roles? Yes. I moved into investment banking because of FRM. So that is very much possible. Okay. What is the English difficulty level? It's a normal English. You will not face problem with respect to the English writing of question. No, Vijay, I don't think so. That'll be a challenge with respect to that. It's a normal basic English only. Okay. I hope I've addressed the queries. I'm moving toward the FRM level 2. So what they're doing is in level 1, they're giving you the basic idea of what is the derivative market, what is your statistics, what is the risk management. So they're giving you overall basic information. But but when you move towards the level 2, they have bifurcated into individual risk, because when you work in investment banks, when you work in risk management teams of any big company, they have individual operation risk team, market risk team, credit, liquidity, all of these. So you're reading specific to that risk. Okay. And the exam question is going to be 80. The total chapter right now is 97. For level 1, which is 62 chapters, you're going to be getting 80 question, no negative marking, 4 hours part. Okay. And in this case, in this section, what is going to happen is that generally they mix two chapters and they will ask you a question on that. So this is the broader structure for level 2. Right now, you should not worry much about level 2. Focus on only level 1. Answering to the query, somebody is asking GAR question set, is it good for it? I would not recommend because they're very easy and they're very few. So every chapter has only 7 or 8 questions. And if you ask me, it does not match with the difficulty level of exam. So don't solve Swagger questions. Don't depend on only Swagger questions. Don't depend on GAR questions for practice. Now, let us go toward the result, and I want everybody to have a complete clarity on what is happening over here. So what simply they are doing is you have a bifurcation as per book. So when you see the result, you will see the result for each book. Okay, so book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, and your performance will be bifurcated, okay, on the basis of quartiles. Now what is quartile? So 100% is bifurcated 2020 section. So 100 to 75 is the first quartile, 75 to 50. Likewise, they have created quartiles. So if suppose I have given the exam and in book one I got first quartile, for example, that means in that book, whatever people appeared for the exam, I was the top 25 percentile people. That means my performance was very good. If I'm getting a fourth quartile in any book, it indirectly means that the I was in the last 25. That means my performance was very bad. If you ask me what is the easiest way to clear the exam, try to get second quartile in all book. That means you are better than 50% of people who are sitting for that book in that exam. So when you see the result, so this is suppose book one, book two, book three, and book four. Okay, you will get result like this. Say for example, 2, 2, 2, 1. Okay, this means for book one, book four, you got first quartile. That means your performance in the book four was very good, but all the other books it was only second quartile. Similarly, one of my student who was able to clear the exam, he got something like this. Three, sorry, it was 3, 4, 1, 2. He was able to clear the exam. Okay. Next is I have seen people who have performed like this. They have not been able to clear the exam. Now, when you see third quartile, it means you can be either close to 50% or you can be either close to 25% also. So within that 25% bucket, you can be anywhere. So we cannot we cannot explicitly highlight that where exactly you are. So they're just giving you a broader idea. If you want to play safe, focus on getting second quartile in all the books. I hope everybody is clear on the bifurcation of the result, how your result is going to come. It's a percentile, not percentage. Right? Answering to the queries which people have asked. Uh, Vijay, my fee structure and everything I'm going to talk at the end slightly. Uh, Rushabh, is level 2 more calculation based? No, level 2 is more theory. I've answered to your query. Somebody is asking, is FRM good for you if you have 48 years of age? See, it all depends upon your aspiration. If in the remaining part of your career you want to go into good roles, or you want to suppose lead teams, become a CRO or chief of credit risk, chief of your market risk, then it depends upon your what do you say, your aspiration if you want to do FRM or not. So I would suggest that it depends. If you see yourself taking up challenging roles in the further part of your career, then definitely you should do FRM. Uh, I'll be talking about study materials in some time. What is the best score to get in the exam? So out of 100, the normal tendency has been that this is my experience. If you're scoring 55 to 60, correct, out of 100 questions, you should be able to clear the exam, roughly. If you're closer to 60 and above 60, more chances. Okay, but that is the range where majority of these students are. That is my experience. Till when we can change the exam date? Exam date, exam date in that same window. There is a scheduling deadline, which is I think so for May exam it was April 20th. So for November it has to be October 20th, roughly. You obviously go to the GARP website and check once. I'm just telling you the broader number, same window, right? There's one more question. How is FRR different from FRM? FRR is a one section exam. It is slightly easier. It's a one level exam. It focuses more on the asset management and liability side of the bank. It gives you more view from that perspective. It is obviously covering market risk, operation risk also, but the difficulty level and is tougher for FRM. Next, the recognition is more better for FRM because it's a flagship course. So definitely, it is going to be if you are looking out for immediate gain in your career, then FRM will definitely help you. I'm going to move towards the further part. I'll be addressing the queries which I've missed. Do not worry. What is the pass percentage? So roughly, if you look at the numbers, at 2020. there was no exam 2021, there was only November exam, then roughly the pass percentage has been around 45 for level 1. So, and in some cases it has gone to 50 also, 46 also. Okay, so there is good chance that you can clear the exam, but you have to follow a certain process. You have to make sure that you're solving the question bank. You have to make sure you're going through the content again and again. So that is how you'll be able to reach in the top 50% or top 45% of the students. Okay. What study material you should be following? Swagger material, I always recommend. Car material is slightly technical, slightly lengthy. You'll get demotivated. I would not suggest you for reading purpose. Focus only on Swagger. Make yourself comfortable. All my students who have been able to clear the exam, they are only reading Swagger. They do not have time to go for any other material as such. Then there is Texas Instrument BA2 Plus. When you go to buy Texas Instrument, there are two calculators that they have, BA2 Plus and BA2 Professional. Plus is more than enough for the FRM exam. Nothing, you don't need a professional set of calculator for the same. You can focus on only these two things. My suggestion, focus on these two main requirement for the exam. Next is when you are appearing for the exam, you need an identification proof. It has to be either a passport or a driving license. Anything will work. How do you make payment to the institute? So there is credit card, which is very simple and straightforward. I have heard about people using debit card, Indian debit card also, but provided you have the international payment facility active on your debit card. There is also an option of wire transfer, but very rarely people use it because suppose you are, how do you go about doing wire transfer? So when you are registering with the card, you have to choose the wire transfer option. They will give you an invoice. You have to print the invoice, go to your bank, State Bank of India, for example, submit the amount. They will pass that amount to, say, Citibank. Citibank will pass that amount to GAR. So there are banks in between, and that's the reason they charge you around $50 as a fees because that's the cost involved. So these are the basic details about FRM. I'll take up the queries before I move towards the next section. So somebody is saying, is it possible to clear FRM with significant knowledge base but without coaching? It is possible. It is possible. There's no requirement for you to have coaching. But see, it is like this. Yeah, I've seen how people are clearing the exam. Somebody has already gone through that path. So he can tell you from his experience of how what you're not supposed to do or what is the best way to do a certain thing. That is what the coaching would help you or mentorship would help you. Okay. Next, I'm going to answer. Somebody is saying, I've cleared my graduation. How does FRM helpful for fresher? It will help you to get into good roles. Okay, right now, if you look at Indian market, majority of the freshers like BCom, BAF, BBI, the roles that they're getting is either operations or sales. If you want to get into good roles, you'll have to get good certifications. Okay, and also look from the long-term perspective. If you aspire to compete with, say, IITs, IIMs, then you need to have good profile, or else you will not be able to do it. Simple. So definitely, skill set is what you should focus on over here. Answering to one more query, from where we can buy Swagger books, it is not showing online. You can drop a WhatsApp on my number and I can help you with that thing. Please share recommended November schedule. Okay, there is an Excel file which I can share, which is basically the order of preparation that I generally suggest. When I'm teaching, also I follow almost same order. In my course, the videos are also in that same, almost same order. So you can check that section. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp. Uh, while using credit card for payment, any conversion charges are charged? No. See, generally, GARP is not charging, your bank might charge. Okay. So, bank generally what they do, they have a markup. So, if today the USD INR rate is 80, they will charge you 82. So, that's a different case. But institute is not charging. Vidya, Vidyasagar, yes, if you're a part of my coaching and if you are a part of live online batch, if you miss any session, that session is also recorded and that is also made available to you. I've answered all the queries. I'm going to move towards the job opportunity section. So in India, see, this is the range which you will find online also. Okay, but in reality, the salaries can be slightly lower also. So be very uh, practical when you're looking at it. But what is happening over here is this for people who are starting out their journey in the market. Somebody who has experience and who's doing FRM, definitely his experience will be counted. So don't worry on that part. Now, there are people who are freshers who have completed FRM level one. My students who have been able to get into good jobs. Okay, somebody who got 6 lakh package also. But again, you will have to face the interview. You'll have to give the best shot in the interview. What FRM can do is that it can create a perception. It can help you to get into a role. It can help you to get an opportunity for an interview. So that is what is important. And good roles, the moment you enter into those good roles, your salary is going to be very good. Definitely. So I have my juniors with 6 years of experience getting around 18, 20 lakhs in India. It's a good number for them. Okay. Who are the top employers? So JP Morgan, Bank of America, KPMG, and Deloitte. These are the very big employers of FRM. So very good opportunity. Consulting side, FRM opportunities are going to be very big. As there are going to be crises in the market, the demand for risk managers are also going to be high, and hence FRM will become more and more important. So definitely, it will be helpful for your opportunity or growth opportunities in the market, and look long term. See, when you're investing your time, investing your money, you're not doing it just for one job. You think about it that after 10 years, after 5 years, I'll be moving into some good roles, senior roles, where they will check my skill set. If somebody who is with 10 years of experience, after 5 years, 7 years, he's going to move into senior management role. So he'll be competing with good people. So your profile has to be very strong. So think from that perspective, think long term when you're investing your time, money, and energy and effort into FRM or any other global certification. Broader careers in FRM part, I've just given you a gist. This is with respect to risk management. Apart from risk management, you can also enter into treasury. Okay, there is middle office, back office, treasury. Then there is compliance also. Sometime I've seen people getting into product control roles. I've also heard people getting into internal audit because of FRM. So FRM will open up doors for you into multiple opportunities. Also, when we talk about risk management, I have explicitly given you examples because lot of students they feel that risk management means one team. It's not like that. Because when I was also working, there were like 200 to 50 people in only risk management team in India. And within that, there were like 10, 15 teams itself. So you had market risk team separate, you had a credit risk, operation risk separately. So there are variety of opportunities within the risk team also. Plus, you can move to treasury, you can move to compliance, you can move to finance also, core finance roles. You can also move to product control roles. So variety of roles are available. Compliance is also there. Risk methodology is slightly technical, but risk control, stress testing, all of these roles are available in big companies. Okay, apart from that, it's this is what I'm talking from the perspective of investment banks. If you investment banks or global banks, if you move to Indian banks also, they have a full-fledged risk management team. They are looking at climate risk, they are looking at liquidity risk, so there are also opportunities there. Also, asset management companies, they are hiring FRM. Pension funds, they are hiring FRMs. Then there are corporate treasuries. For example, Reliance, Aditya Birla Group, Mahindra, they have treasury teams where they are hiring FRM for their growth, right? For their work. So definitely this is going to be helpful for you in in your career. This is just to open up the window. A lot of people might not have heard about, say, model validation. So if you look at Mumbai, also right now, Mumbai, Hyderabad, there is huge opportunity for model validation roles in big corporates. I'm talking about investment banks. Okay, so UBS hire for it very heavily, Deutsche Bank hire for it very heavily. So opportunities are huge. Common queries which a lot of students have. So is FRM a quant-driven examination? Previously it was. Okay, right now it is more theoretical and understanding based. They will give you short case study and they will check whether you have understood the concept or not. So it is very less quant now. Out of 100, 20 to 30 question would be preferably from the quant side. Next is how much time do you need to prepare? So roughly 300 hours is what is recommended, but my suggestion would be focus on 300 to 400 hours for your exam preparation. Is FRM exam difficult? Yes, it is difficult. If you're comparing it with any banking exam in India, like for example IIBF exam, this is a tough exam. If you're comparing it with NISM exams, NSC, BSc related exams in India, this exam is far more tougher. And that is why the recognition is there, right? And that is why you are on this live session wanting to know about the FRM exam because it is recognized in the industry. Next, is it possible for us to clear exam with full-time job? If you go to my YouTube channel and there is a playlist on FRM success interviews, I have taken roughly around 70 interviews. There are more interviews to be posted. In those interviews, you will find working professionals also clearing the exam, especially people from banking side, Indian banking side, from Bank of India, Union Bank, then Bank of Baroda also. People are clearing the exam. So definitely, it is possible, but yes, when you're working, you have challenges. You have to be consistent. If you're preparing now for November, time will not be a problem for you. It is always going to be consistency. So focus on consistency. Start out slow. Read every day. Don't skip days in preparation. Then things will happen. If you're coming with a mindset that, oh, okay, I will only prepare weekend, then you will not be able to clear this exam. It is very difficult. Okay, so you'll have to put down time every single day. That is how I would suggest you to prepare for the exam. Is it possible for me to prepare for the exam after your 12th standard or after your graduation? Yes. There are a lot of students of mine who have completed level 2 also before they've gone out of the college. So it is easily possible. There was one of my student in last exam who cleared 12th standard in April and he was able to clear FRM in November. So it is possible. Okay, and if he can do it, definitely you guys can do it. So do not bring those thoughts in your mind that whether I'm eligible for it. Right now, they do not have any eligibility criteria as such, and that is a good point. You can complete if you're a college student, you can complete all your examination before you hit the market. I'm just taking out. I'm going to be answering few queries which are there on the chat. If I missed, just repost it. So somebody is asking. I have 15 years of experience with different sector in the same organization. Want to know the scope of FRM? FRM will help you to move to good roles in the sense, say, for example, treasury or risk. It will also help you to see 15 years of experience. You should focus on skill set. When you're going to compete with somebody who's into IIM, IIT, this will help you. Your work experience plus a core skill set into some area and good certification like FRM will help you to project yourself as a expert into certain area and it will help you to compete with those people easily because your work experience they also have work experience and they have degrees from good colleges. So that is how Monica, I think so it will help you in your career. Next, how much time to be devoted regularly to clear the exam? I'm going to show you a pathway for time dedication also in the next few slides. Does FRM help in corporate jobs or other than banking? Yes, it does. It does. Asset management, pension funds, then you have corporate treasuries. They are also hiring. Every company will have a risk team. Every decently sized company will have a risk team. They will have a treasury team. So there are opportunities out there. Credit rating agencies are hiring heavily. So apart from banks, very good opportunities. Uh, I'm a CA dropout in future if I want to pursue CA. Will FRM help me? See, FRM and your CA final SFM chapter book is they have a lot of commonality. The bond valuation derivatives is almost common. So definitely it will help you in your preparation for CA final also if you are pursuing CA exam. I hope I have been able to answer all your queries. I'm going to move towards how to prepare for the FRM exam. Okay. So this now few pointers which I'm talking about. These are broader suggestions which I tell to students that focus on minimum to 200 to 250 hours of preparation. Okay, again, it is slightly subjective. If you do it properly, you can clear in slightly lesser number of hours also. But your focus more should be on solving of question bank. Now, why am I explicitly saying 2,000 or 3,000 questions? Because what happens when you go to the actual exam, you, out of say 100 questions, you'll be able to find 45, 50 questions, easy, manageable. But the rest 50 is where you'll get stuck in two options. Now, if you have solved a good amount of questions, you'll be able to eliminate options properly. You will be able to pick up and choose question properly because questions are jumbled. And the question exam is also going to test you on your ability to choose the question, because there might be difficult questions which have been put to waste your time. You're not supposed to do it in the first go, you're supposed to keep it at the end. So, how do you manage your exam day? It all depends upon how many solving you have done. That is what that is why 2000 question solving is important. Focus on time management. Every question roughly has around 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes for you to solve. So the more you solve questions on your computer based format, the better you will have hang of actual exam, and you'll also be judged in the entire exam scenario. How do you manage your time? Because like I said, there are going to be some questions which are going to be very tough in your preparation. So you should you should have that understanding to skip certain questions and choose certain questions. So when you start reading the question in the first 1 second, 10 seconds, you should be able to understand whether I'll go for this question or not. That gut feeling will only come when you have solved so much variety of question, 2000, 3000 question. The speciality about GARP is that it will try to judge you on every nook and corner of the book. So there might be one line in your book and they will pick up that line, they will create a big question on it. So my recommendation generally is read Schedule book entirely before the exam, 1 or 2 days before the exam, just read it properly. Focus on book 3 and book 4 primarily because it is high weightage. 30%, 60 questions are going to come from this two book. Do not ignore this part. Uh, Focus more on concepts repeated in previous exams. Previous exams in the sense you can focus on sample paper also. I generally help students with few concepts which I've seen over a period of years are commonly tested. In the last 1 or 2 exams, certain parts were changed. I mean, certain new concepts were also getting tested. I basically share that with my students to help them to prepare better. Solve GARP sample paper. This is very, very important. 2023. See, there are a lot of GARP sample paper, previous year paper are available. Some of the papers are repeat. Focus only on 2023, the latest one in terms of your solving. Try to get a 2 week off before the exam because it is recommended. If you cannot get at least 1 week off, is definitely should be there, because if you're working and you will need to be in that flow of reading 10 hours, 11 hours like that to clear the exam in the last 1 2 week, because that is where the game is going to change for you. So the more time you have, slightly you'll be in a better position to pick up and clear the exam. Focus on theory. Now this is what I'm talking from the based on past two exams, where they are asking more theoretical question and very very less calculation question. If you have slightly bad luck, they will bad luck in the sense they might deviate for you slightly in terms of the calculation question might be slightly higher in your case. But on an average, the last two exams have been 30 question theory calculation and 70 question theory. Try to solve at least 4 mock papers and all of them should be time bound. That means try to give it as an actual exam. Then your preparation will be checked whether you have been able to prepare properly, because that actual exam scenario will tell you whether you're able to sit for that 4 hours, whether you're able to take that pressure. That is how it is going to work. Okay, these are few tips I'm going to address uh, over here. Few questions. Urvashi, you can join our online batch also. We're going to be starting out from next Saturday. There is a online batch. There is a video lecture section also. Somebody is asking, is it possible to prepare by preparing for FRM 1 hour every single day? Only 1 hour is not going to help. You can start with 1 hour, but gradually you'll have to increase. Okay, because roughly if you put one hour, you might be very, very. I don't think so. You'll be able to cover the curriculum properly. So you'll have to increase it slightly. I have 5 years of experience in derivatives, so will it be helpful? See, if you have an experience into derivative area, okay, it is only to one section. And think about this, when you are moving into senior management roles, they will check what variety of understanding you have, not only into derivative, but say, for example, some stats you do, are you aware about those stats part? Are you aware about risk management? Are you aware about products, financial products? So everything, they will try to see what you bring on table as a senior management professional. So I think so. Think long term. That is how the exam should benefit you in the overall career, especially if you're in Dubai. Dubai market is very good. So you'll be able to earn very good salary. I know people who are earning 20, 30,000 dirham per month on the basis of their certification exams. Do we get any rough sheets during the exam? Yes, they give rough sheet. The institute gives it. The center will provide you. So don't worry on that part. Will there be a career opportunity abroad with FRM and 3 years of experience? Yes, definitely. So if you look at US market, if you look at Canada, to a certain extent, Australia and London, these three markets are very popular for FRM certifications. You will find jobs also very easily. So I don't think so that's going to be a challenge. With 3 years of experience, it is going to be helpful. I hope everybody is good till this point. Can I get a quick confirmation on chat? सब लोग हैं साथ में? So now we're going to be talking about how I can help you to prepare. I'll share you a few tips. Also, the questions that has been asked by students. Okay, there's a very typical pattern that I follow in my live sessions. Okay, and I am very serious about this. I make sure that people who are attending live session, I reiterate it. I force them to do it. Okay, first part. So my live sessions are going to be starting from next week, and people is anybody who wish to join it, they will be getting the videos access. My expectation is very clear. Whatever topic I'm going to teach, you have to watch the video of that chapter beforehand. Read the textbook simultaneously. So if it's a 2 hour video, watch the video, pause it in between, read the textbook. Basically, cover the video and the textbook and write your doubts. Identify your doubts in front of every paragraph. Write it down in your book in pencil. Okay. Once you're done with that, close, go to the next chapter. Ideally, you should be able to complete 3 chapters in a week from now, focusing on that. There is a particular order which I give in my course. You have to follow that. When you come to the lecture, be it physical, be it online, you have to think that Ganesh sir is going to teach me this chapter. It's a revision for me. I'm going to walk you through the entire social book. So that will act as a revision for you, and I want you to ask your doubts in the class. Okay. Obviously, if you've seen the videos, the basic concepts will be clear because I've gone into more detail. But the intention of giving you the video is to make sure that when you enter the lecture, you have clarity whether this chapter is easy for me or difficult, which paragraph is easy for me or difficult, what all queries I have, I've written it down. So your preparation will become easy. Okay. Now, why this approach is slightly different? Because if you go anywhere else, they will ask you to come to the session blank. Okay. And whatever learning you're going to get, it is going to be on that in that session itself. Now, there are two, three problems with this. The first problem is you're not taking the responsibility of your exam. You're thinking that somebody is going to teach me, then only I'll be able to learn. No, don't do that. This is not how you prepare for your competitive exams. That is the first point. Second, when you're preparing, okay, uh, if suppose you were not attentive on that day, so anybody else would say that, okay, if you're not able to attend something, watch the video again. What I have done is I've changed the entire process. I'm asking you to watch the video beforehand because when you come to the lecture, you're focused. You know what is this chapter all about. If a chapter is easy, you can skip the lecture. That's okay. But that decision you are taking. Okay. And you know if it's a tough chapter, I have to attend it. I have to be very attentive. So you have more clarity. And that is going to be a very important pillar in your clearing. And this is why there is so many people who are attending the lecture, they are able to clear the exam because I'm forcing them to do this. That is the first part. I want to make sure that majority of your doubts should get addressed in the class itself. The second part is your Telegram community. There's a Telegram community where everybody who's preparing for the exam is going to be there. Okay. And I want you to participate. If you know something, answer the queries. If you do not know, ask the queries and ask specific query. What is the problem? So that anybody who's going to help you will help you in a much better manner. Next is this monthly guidance call. So I don't call anybody. What I tell students is that After roughly 1.5 month, just drop a message to me. You can have a quick chat on a call, or if I'm not available on call, I'll drop a voice note. Basically, trying to understand what is the situation that a student is in terms of the preparation, so that I can guide you and tell you whether the speed that you're following, which chapters you're doing, is it good or not. This is very, very important because a lot of students, a video lecture student or a live online also, they are preparing on their own. They do not have any support system. So this can help them to understand whether they are in the right track or not. So, and I take these calls seriously. I want people to reach out to me once in a month or once in 1.5 month. That will, if you're continuously in touch with me till the exam date, your passing probability is going to be very high. Don't assume that what I have not prepared much, how should I do it? Because when you talk to me and if you tell me that, okay, 1 month is left and I have completed this much, I can tell you what is the best way forward. That is how I will be able to guide you. Not only that, if you're in the exam date, on the exam center, if you're facing problem, right now also for SCR, there was a lot of students who are facing issues. We have reached out to GARP, we have rescheduled the exam in April month itself. They have been able to give the exam. So I'll be available on that level. But obviously, you have to be serious. You have to keep me in loop. Then only I will be able to help you. Okay, so the students initiates the call and we help them, primarily I help them to uh, best strategize for their exam, and I can tell them whether they are in the speed is good or not. Okay, this is the broader pillar that I follow for my preparation. My lectures are on weekends. I'll be sharing the timings also now. Now, if you want to clear the exam, my students, okay, I this is the blueprint that I basically will ask them to follow. So when you starting, say for example, 1st of May 2023, okay, start watching videos. Okay, if you're attending the lectures, if you're coming to the live session, then also, if you're only watching the video, you're not part of the live session, then also start with 3 chapters per week. Focus on 3 chapters. Do not get into the temptation that I have a 1 week holiday, I'll complete 20 chapters. This will make you fail in the exam. Don't do that. Focus on consistency. 3 chapters per week. That's okay. Roughly 6 to 7 hours. Then gradually the timings will increase. Okay. But when you start 3 chapters, so from 1st May till say 15th of June, you have been able to complete roughly say around 20 chapters. Okay. So you should be ideally solving your question bank. Start solving the question bank from 15th of June. How? Okay. So let us assume that you have reached 15th June, you have completed 20 chapters. Now in the next week, you'll be doing 3 new chapters and simultaneously you'll be revising the 2 or 3 previous chapters, revising from the Schweizer book and solve my question bank, solve my chapter wise question bank. Okay. So from June 15 till end of September, what is expected is that you'll be watching new videos and you'll also be solving the old chapters that you have already completed. But when you're solving, you have to revise only on the Schweizer book. Okay. Till the time you reach end of September, ideally, this is the ideal situation. And mind you that this is not possible for every student. Okay. This is ideal. So you should be able to complete all solving for all chapter, the chapter wise quiz. All chapter videos are completed. That means your portion is kind of completed till the time you reach by the end of September. Now, few points to remember over here. First of all, I have purposely asked you to not solve the question bank immediately once you have seen the video. Why? Because if you have seen the video, more chances that you'll get good answer. That will give you fake happiness. That is not going to help you to clear the exam. Okay. And the reason I pushed the solving of question bank from 15th of June, because whatever chapters you have completed, you'll tend to forget. Now, because you have to solve the question bank, it will force you to read the chapter, and one revision is going to simultaneously happen because you're solving the question bank now. So think about this. Every week from June 15 onwards, you're watching new chapters and you're also revising. So one set of revision is by default happening because you have started solving the question bank. Okay, that is one that is very, very important in terms of preparation. Now, if let us assume that you have been able to complete everything by the end of September in terms of chapter wise solving. So from September till end of October, that 1 month, or say suppose first week of October, ideally you should be able to complete sectional test, important concept quiz, and mock papers. So I generally provide these to students. What I expect, so do first revision of each book and then solve the sectional test. Then there is important concept quiz. So basically, I've taken three, four chapters which are common chapters. I've combined and created a quiz. So read those three, four chapters and give the quiz. So that will be a second revision for you. And third would be by doing the mock papers. There are four mock papers. You have to revise the content and so on. So by default, in that month, in the month of October, if you are following the process, you'll be done with three full revisions of your content with solving of extra questions. And then depending upon your exam date, okay, suppose your exam date is 11th of May or 11th of November. Okay, so you can do final revision in this last week. Okay, it's going to be last week revision, formula checking, all of that, and then going for the exam. So if you follow this plan, ideally, what is going to happen? How many times you have seen the content? First time you have watched the video. Okay, if you are attending the lectures, that's the second time. Okay, third time when you're solving the chapter-wise questions. Okay, fourth time when you're solving sectional test. Fifth time important concept, and sixth time mock papers, and final revision seven times. So by default, the structure is created in such a way that it is going to make sure that you would do revision. The only requirement from you is follow the plan. Only requirement is follow the plan. Is there any query on this slide? Anybody? On the chat section? Vipul, we'll be adding a separate set of question bank by mid of June or before that. It will have everything, sectional test, mock papers, everything in your access. We already have the question bank. We'll be revising it now. When I'm referring to chapter-wise question bank, it is my question bank. Alok, answering to your query, there is an Excel sheet which I can share it to you. There is no problem. You can drop a WhatsApp on our number and I'll share the Excel sheet to you. Okay. I'm moving towards a time commitment that is required. This is what I'm generally suggesting people to focus on. It's a long-term game. Do not come with the mindset for clearing FRM. If you're going for November exam, that okay, I'll complete everything by June end and I'll just revise. You will definitely fail if you do that. Do not fall for that trap. Okay. Focus now on reading one hour every single day. Okay. By June end, increase it to 2 hours every single day. Gradually increase your speed. And then from August or say September 15th, also it is okay. Increase it to 2.5 hour, 3 hour. Bring momentum. The moment you focus on these three things, the October month and the last few days before your exam, the November month, these two will become very, very easy because now you do not have the pressure, okay, to focus on suddenly reading for 10 hours because you have been consistently improving your time. So my suggestion is very simple. Keep it, follow the plan, maintain consistency. That is going to bring result for you. And do not disturb the pattern. Don't do it this way. I'm reading one day, then taking a break of 3, 4 days, again reading. You'll not see, you'll complete things, but you'll not have the confidence. The confidence will always come when you are in the flow. Continuously reading, that will bring you confidence because you'll remember things. If you do on and off, or you do only weekend reading, this will not help. Okay, this is my suggestion, my way of explaining things. What are the common questions? When are the lectures are going to be only on weekends? On the first and third Saturday, we are not conducting lectures. My general lecture timings on weekends are going to be 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. with breaks. This is India time, IST, India time. Okay. How much time I need to dedicate? Like I said, 300 hours. Start with one hour, 2 hour, 2.5 hour. That is more than enough. By September end itself, you will be done. Okay. Then you can gradually do revision and reach the exam. This, if you're working, definitely it's going to be challenging because working people along with job to manage preparation is not easy. Definitely, it's not easy, but it's not difficult. You have to always imagine that what good roles you're going to get into, what good salaries you're going to get into. Then only you'll be able to find the result. Then only you'll be able to maintain consistency. I've seen people from State Bank of India, from Bank of India, branch, people sitting in branch, they've been able to clear it. So you should also be able to clear it, definitely. How to resolve the queries post lecture? So there is a Telegram group also where you can post the queries. In the next session, if I'm available, I'll answer the query. That's not an issue. That's not an issue. There is a Telegram community for guidance, and there is a monthly call that I talked about often. Okay, to help you guide for the exam. And I don't bifurcate students on the basis of you have taken only video lectures, you have taken live session. No, the common goal is to make sure that you clear the exam. That is what it is going to be. I'll definitely help you in whatever manner is possible. Okay, because there are a lot of students who have seen my crash course on YouTube and they have been able to clear the exam. With whom I am not even might have not even talked with them once. But the idea is definitely to make sure to make the exam as much easy as possible for us, for the students, because when I gave the exam, I knew what was the pain when you do not have much documents, much question bank available. That's a big problem. So I want to make sure that FRM becomes easy and more Indian students are able to clear the exam at least. Okay. So this is the broader queries. I'll address the queries which are on the chat. What if we do chapter wise questions with the first reading itself? I would not recommend that because you have time. If you're going to complete everything now, what are you going to do later? See, one thing which I think a lot of people are not able to connect is that if you're completing your portion very early, say let us assume say July mid, you're completing everything. Then you have the pressure to revise, and from there, how many till your November exam, say July mid till November, how many times are you going to revise? 5 times, 10 times, you'll become bored with the content, and that is where you'll make mistake. And the moment you break the momentum of revision, then you'll have to come back to the main thing again because you'll have to have the confidence. So go slow. My suggestion is to follow the pattern. Puneet, if you're solving question bank immediately, there's nothing wrong in that. But my suggestion is this. Okay. What will be the timings of the upcoming session? Saturdays and Sundays. Like I said, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is the broader time. Sometimes I might start at 4. Okay. Or sometime I might start at 3 also. So depending upon this is a broader time that I've talked about. Puneet, answering to your query, solving the question immediately will help you to understand what is going to come in the exam, but solving it after a gap will also help you in the same way. The only thing is, see, please do not treat this exam as an IIBF exam, as your college exam. Please do not treat it like that. It is not going to help. It's a competitive exam. The game is different. You have to behave differently. You have to prepare differently. So that is why my suggestion. Rest is your decision. Okay. Can you please help me with the point of classes means when will it happen? Saturday and Sunday, both the days. We have a Telegram group wherein we'll keep on posting. Okay, I'll tell you how exactly it is going to look like in some time. Let me just quickly walk you through what we are offering. So we have live online sessions, we have classroom session, recorded session. So revision session, I have already completed one full crash course on YouTube. The content is almost same. Uh, Coverage of Switcher book. Doubt solving. See, this is I don't explicitly do 24/7 doubt solving, but we are there to help you. We will not leave you if you are serious about the exam. Okay. Placement assistance. I basically help you to connect with one of few of my students who are already there in the industry. You can, if you're looking out for opportunities in a particular area, I have connections with job portals also, or the job consultants who are helping me with job opportunities. So a lot of things are happening on that front. More importantly, FRMS certification, it is definitely going to be helpful uh, because it is recognized. If once you clear level one, also people recognize it. So I don't think so. You'll find challenge in finding a good job. Only thing is you'll have to change your CV also a bit. You cannot expect to use the same CV and go get the same result, right? So that will not happen. Right now, we have stopped the skill enhancement and these programs right now. We will be starting it as we get time. Okay, chapter-wise question bank is there. Then there is test series and mock papers, like I mentioned, sectional test. It is also going to be there. Few success stories. You must have seen this in LinkedIn, in Quora. People are talking about it. So I'm just sharing few few of my students who have been able to clear the exam. So he was sitting from London. I think so. Aparna was from Mumbai. Chandan was from Mumbai itself. You can check the designation. These are all from LinkedIn itself. Durgesh was the had taken an interview which has become very famous. His interview, he was a branch. He was sitting as a branch in Dhanbad in Jharkhand. He's been able to clear the exam in first attempt. Very hardworking, very dedicated student. Karthik Gibbon is also a student who has now got an opportunity into US. Khushbu, there are a lot of things. I've just taken few as a reference point. So Sachin has been able to clear after 20 years of experience. So in first attempt, he has been able to clear in first attempt. There are success interviews that are like roughly 70 interviews. You can watch them, which I've already posted on my YouTube channel. You can go through them. You'll get an idea how other people are clearing. The intention was to do that because a lot of people who are preparing with videos and they do not have anybody to look up to. This will help them to clear the exam. So we have our live classroom, live online, and only recorded packages. Okay, video lecture is this, live online is this, and classroom is this. Sometimes we do run a discount on it, so you'll have to check on that period if it is available. But these are the preferable prices which we have kept for November 2023. Any queries, guys? I'll be also showing you how exactly you could be joining the lecture and how does the video lecture section looks like. But any queries on the chat section if you guys want to talk about it? So this is the learning management system that we have. You will have to log into the learning management system. This is the video lectures part. So if you scroll down, we have already highlighted lectures which are week wise, week one, week two. You have to follow the process. You have to follow the order, week three, week four, likewise. And we have got till week 23, week 25, likewise. Okay. And every week I've just tried to bifurcate two chapters, maximum two or three chapters. You can do extra also, that's not an issue. But three chapter in a week is good enough. Okay. And I don't follow the order which is given in the book, in the sense I don't go book one, book two, because FRM curriculum is not really structured. Because if you read book one, there are certain chapters which is connection directly to book four. There are certain chapters where they are explaining standard deviation, which is going to come in book two. Hedging is going to come in book three. So I follow my own order. Okay. And previously I used to give Excel sheets, but what I did is simply I incorporated in the video section because nobody then has to do anything with the Excel. They can directly follow the order in the video section. How will you attend the lecture? So students who are the part of the live batch, okay, they will get this live batch as a section. And in that they will get what is the current live session that is going to happen. So the next week we're going to be doing 29th, 4 o'clock, building blocks of risk management. And you will get an icon to join the meeting over here. Again, uh, the link will be available when I start the meeting. Then there is one more chapter which we're going to be doing on the next, which is 30th, which is going to be corporate bond. Okay, 4 o'clock. So, and every lecture, I mean, every week I'll be telling you what I'm going to cover in the next week. I'll be telling you that also, and I'll be there's a Telegram group also in which I'll be posting that these are the topics that we're going to be covering next week. So you have to make sure that you have seen the videos of those chapters. Okay. So this is how it is going to look like for the section. Nitesh, I hope I've answered your query. Uh, Saturday and Sunday query. Can we purchase a question bank? Is there is a basic plan available for the question bank? But the question bank will be available from 15th of June also because we are making some changes. Vipul, answering to your query, is it preferable to do a summer internship in June along with FRM preparation. If it's only June, that's okay because your exam is in November. It is not going to have a much impact. Then there is no problem. Don't do it very close to the exam. Okay. Yes, Bharat, we have an app for iPad also. So you can access it through your section. Bharat, solving question bank videos are not explicitly available. I have done a solving a few chapters, which solving video of few chapters that I will be adding. But see, solving of 3,000 question is practically not possible because the solution is detailed enough. That should not be a problem. And if there is any challenge, we are there to help you out. My portion will get completed by September end. I generally keep a buffer of say first week of October. That is my plan. Atul, answering to your query, if you are a part of my uh, course, then the question bank is by default there. Standard plan professional, the question bank is by default available. Okay. I have answered all the queries if I'm not wrong. So I'll just quickly walk you through the books now. So book one. So this is the foundation of risk management, the first book of the curriculum. I'll just quickly move to the index and tell you what is there in each chapter. How is this chapter designed? One second, yeah. So if we look at the first chapter, the building blocks of risk management, this is more from the perspective of giving you the view that it is going to talk about what is risk, how companies look at risk management, what are the different tools available for risk management. Okay, so in not so important chapter, okay, but in the last exam, what they did is they focus more on the first four chapters of your book one. They were asking more theoretical question, slightly case driven questions in the first four chapters in the last exam. Historically, this chapter has not been that much important. Financial, how to firm manage risk. This is a continuation of the first chapter. Over here, they're talking more on hedging perspective. Okay. Theoretical question chapter, not very difficult. You will have to read it twice to understand it properly because the wordings are slightly tricky in this chapter. Governance of risk management, easy content, focusing more on corporate governance issues that companies face. There was a huge case of Enron where the auditors were not able to check what was the problem. Satyam is also a corporate governance failure case. So, what challenges are there when you're doing corporate governance at the overall company level? So that is discussed in this chapter. Credit risk transfer mechanism. Now, this chapter basically, there is this chapter, I just mark this as star, not from the important perspective, but what I want to highlight is this chapter. Then there is one more chapter, Anatomy of Great Financial Crisis, from the same book, and Mortgage and Mortgage Back. All three chapters are connected because if you look at credit risk transfer mechanism, they are going to be talking about CDS and all, which is there in the mortgage and mortgage back security in book three. So if you read these three chapters together, it will be easy for you to pick it up. That is what I basically tell students to do. In this chapter, they are focusing on the credit risk, which is the core risk that the banks face. And when they are trying to eliminate this credit risk, they are trying to transfer this to somebody else. What are tools are available? What all challenges are there in each tools? Okay, so CDS, they are talking about the guarantees and loan syndication. They have talked more on of that perspective. This chapter is calculation driven chapter, which is basically a portfolio management chapter. This chapter and this next, which is arbitrage pricing and the CAPM chapter, capital asset pricing chapter. Easy, but slightly calculation. In this book, these are the only two chapters which are calculation driven. Principles of effective aggregation. So this is basically the Basel document, and they have just taken the document, they have converted it into a chapter. Where they're talking about if you're looking at big organization, they do look at data quality very seriously. So when you're managing huge amount of data in the bank, how should you do it? You should focus on accuracy, you should focus on completeness. All of this is given in detail in this chapter. Theoretical, but in one of the previous exams, I think so it was November 2021, if I'm not wrong, they tried to test heavily few students on this chapter. Enterprise risk management is basically how bigger organizations they manage their risk in terms of they have a centralized system which is called as ERM. They use ERM to track all of the risk, even your reputation, your strategic risk, all of this. So how that is happening and how your organization structure culture is going to impact your implementation of ERM. So again, slightly theoretical. Both these chapters are theoretical. Learning from financial disaster is very, very important chapter because it talks about case studies of where the risk management has failed. Variety of case studies. There is long-term capital management. There is bearing banks. Okay, Enron case study, Lehman Brothers case study. All of this is now there. It is a very important chapter for the exam. I generally do it at the end. Why? Because it has component of MBS. It has component of futures and options. So it is better you do it at the end. Anatomy of Great Financial Crisis. So 2007 and 9, the crisis was there. What happened? What was the reason? Again, an important chapter from the exam perspective. Very conceptual understanding is required in this chapter. Again, like I said, this has to be done with other chapters from other book combined. GARP Code of Conduct is more from the perspective of uh, telling you that if you are a risk professional, what you should be doing. The chapter is very easy. If you read the content in the chapter, it's 3 or 4 page. But in the exam, the questions are going to be more subjective. They will give you a case. So for this chapter, ideally, you should be solving more and more questions. That is how you should be take, thinking about it, looking at the content. So reading only this chapter will not help you. You have to solve a lot of questions. Okay. So overall, book one, roughly 11 chapters, roughly 20 questions in the exam. The second is quant. Lot of students are afraid of quant. Okay, thinking that it is calculation. Let me tell you, there are going to be 20 questions from this book. Okay, but majority of the questions are going to be theoretical. Why? Because it's stats, and in stats the institute is not expecting you to solve things. What they are expecting is that you should have a good understanding of the stats component. How, say for example, standard deviation or correlation, they will not ask you to calculate that, because when you go and work for bank, you have everything driven through the model or driven through Excel. So intention is to understand whether you have intention to check whether you understood the concept or not. So it's going to be more or less theoretical, the questions. I'm just quickly moving towards the chapter part, fundamentals of probability. Now, this chapter, even though the content in the book, if you read the GAR book also, it is easy. But in the exam, what historically I've seen, around 2 to 3 questions they're asking. And out of those 2 to 3 questions, one question is easy, but the other two are difficult. So when you're appearing for the exam also, keep in mind that if there are questions from this chapter, do it at the end. My suggestion. Random variable, more from the perspective. This is important chapter because this is a building block. Okay, the concepts of skewness, kurtosis is tested. There's binomial theorem. Then there is a Poisson distribution. It's a very good chapter. The PDF function is also discussed in detail. So easy chapter. If you go through my videos, it's not going to be much of a problem. Common univariate random variable. Okay, Bernoulli binomial. Sorry, I made a mistake. Bernoulli and binomial is over here. And over here in this chapter, they're focusing on discrete distributions and continuous distribution. Slightly statistical terms, so don't worry. Okay, it is easy. The chapter is easy. The last part, which is the chi-square and f, it is hardly tested in the exam. You can go through the content, but hardly tested. Multivariate, this chapter, multivariate random variable, if you are good with the fundamentals of probability, and there is a concept of metrics, probability metrics. If you're good with that, this entire chapter is very easy. You'll be able to pick it up. Okay. The only thing is you have to understand how the matrix is created, how they're doing the calculation. It's very easy chapter from the calculation perspective. From here, we are actually entering into forecasting. Okay. So sample movement talks about, say you have a population and you're taking a sample from the population. Why? Because you cannot check the entire population. So you're trying to take the sample. You're trying to do the analysis of the sample, and then on the basis of that analysis, you're saying that okay, the population might be like this. So you'll take the mean variance standard deviation of the sample and try to judge. the standard deviation of, say, population or the variance of the population, like that. So very interesting chapter. This is a building block for your hypothesis. And from the exam perspective, there is type 1, type 2 error. That is important from the exam perspective. How do they do hypothesis testing? Because this is a real life application. In when banks they are doing the activity, if you have quality assurance teams in your organization, they do hypothesis testing as a tool to check whether we have if my understanding is actually same or not when we look at the data. Regression analysis, this is where the forecasting actually starts. It's a method. This is one of the methods of doing regression. There is logistic regression also. Then as we move into further part, there is decision tree also. But for your curriculum, they are focused only on linear regression. This chapter is with one variable, one independent variable, and this chapter is with multiple independent variable. Again, if you want to do this chapter better, you'll have to be focusing on hypothesis testing, because in both the chapters they are doing hypothesis testing on linear regression. It's a model that they try to run, the linear regression, and they're trying to test whether the forecasting that we have done is it actually correct or not. So these three chapters are connected. When you're preparing, you should be revising these three chapters together. Regression diagnostic means they're talking about what problems do you face in regression. So there's a very common problem, heteroscedasticity and multicollinearity, very very important for the exam. That is tested in the exam. So definitely you should be clear on the concept of these two sections. Time series data. So, for example, if you look at sales over a period of time or stock price over a period of time, they are time series data. Can we use time series data to do forecasting? There are challenges. If it's stationary, yes, we can. If it is non-stationary, they have some different set of challenges. So these two chapters slightly technical. Do not worry about it much. Okay, do it at the end. Read it, watch the video, but do it at the end. Why? Because these chapters you will not find normal people doing activity, because these are more or less hardcore modeling. There are certain specific model like ARMA, then there is moving average model, okay, then autoregressive model. All of these models are used in banks. So if you go and work into a team, you will find people doing it. So definitely these are good concepts to be read. Measuring return volatility is easy chapter, not very difficult. Simulation is also slightly easy, more theoretical, not calculation. There's very, very less calculation in these chapters. Machine learning, these two chapters are added in the 2023 curriculum. Now, the purpose of these two chapters being added to give you a brief of how machine learning models are actually run, or what is the logic of that being done. So, and one of the videos are already there on YouTube in my channel. So you can have the detail. If I'm not wrong, this is the video. Machine learning and prediction. Again, it's a continuation of the previous discussion point, but over here more from the forecasting angle, how machine learning can be used to do forecasting. So K nearest neighbor is very, very important part. Then you have a decision tree that is used, a neural network. These are all topics which you must have heard in your reading, in your news, or any specific forecasting or machine learning related discussion point. So we have completed book two. I'm moving towards book three. So in book three, you'll find more products, financial markets. The first three chapters are basically being added to give you an overview, because previously you were directly starting with derivative, and there's no brief background on different types of industry and all of it. So hence these three chapters are added. Banks, theoretical, easy. Insurance, again talking about how the insurance companies work, what are the products, what challenges they face, what are the risks involved, what are the pension fund companies, what challenges they face. Everything is discussed. Fund management is from the hedge fund perspective. Hedge fund and mutual fund, what is the difference? How do they work? What are the different sets of risk? So more or less theoretical, very, very minimal calculation. Introduction to derivative, this is where they will start with options. They'll start with futures, basically FNO and forward. This chapter is a building block because they're talking about all three of them, okay, in detail. Then exchange on OTC and central clearing, both the chapters are connected because they're talking about how an exchange functions, why there is a central clearing in that exchange CCP sitting over there, what is the purpose of uh, CCP, how the risk is very low in exchange and not in the OTC market. What are the challenges? Everything is being discussed properly. This chapter is important from the exam perspective. Now, from here, we are going to be entering into the products. So, what they are doing now, I generally suggest is you focus only on futures first. So, complete all the chapters related to future, how you can use futures for hedging. Okay, so complete this chapter ideally, pricing financial. This is basically the valuation of futures and forward, commodity forwards and future. Why? Because investment product like stocks, you have futures on stocks. That is very different as compared to you have futures on a commodity. So they're bifurcated. They're explaining that in much detail. It's a very very interesting chapter, calculation driven chapters. So this chapter is calculation. This chapter is also very heavy calculation. You should be focusing on these four chapters together. Okay, there is one more chapter over here which focuses on foreign exchange market. This is a standalone chapter giving you the overview of FX market. So there are concepts which are there, but again, less calculation in this chapter. This chapter of using futures for hedging is also important, and calculation based questions are asked. So majority of your calculation in your exam ideally would come from book three. Then they have options. There are four chapters focusing on options part. Again, calculation is minimal. They're testing you more on the understanding basis, like what different strategies. There's butterfly strategy, which is very, very important. Bear and bull strategy is very, very important. Properties of option. How do you, when you look at the option price, what are the logic of that option price creation? So what lowest to lowest the option price can go up, or highest to highest the option price can go. That has been discussed. Then there is option market, the variety. What are the who are different players in the market? How does the market function? What are the nomenclature used in the market? That is being discussed in this chapter. Exotic is basically till now the options that we were talking, plain vanilla option. Exotic gives you a view that how we can make complex financial products. Okay, so there's like a barrier option, there is binary option. We've talked about compound option, gap option. All of these are tested in the exam. Then there is this component, which is properties of interest rate. Ideally, you should be doing it with bond valuation, which is in book four, because the duration, convexity, everything is connected to bond valuation. So I don't do it in book, and I'm doing futures and option. I do it with the bond valuation. Corporate bond is theoretical chapter, focusing more on how the bond market actually works. Mortgage and mortgage-backed security. So when I said you anatomy of great financial crisis or credit risk transfer mechanism, you should be doing it with this. And why? Because this MBS as a product is very well detailed, connected to your financial crisis of 2007 and 9. Very interesting chapter, very good content. Okay, important from the exam perspective. Interest rate futures, again, this is related to bond. So I basically would do it with the bond chapters. For this, the only major part is it's a combination of bond and futures. Okay, and so how there is one concept of treasury bond futures, which is nothing but you have futures, but the underlying asset is bond. So don't worry, it's basically a simple chapter. If you have done futures properly, if you have done bond valuation properly, this will become easy. Swaps, there's an individual chapter focusing on one single product, swaps. Interest rate swap, if you go to OTC market, interest rate swap is widely traded. That is why they've given you the detail part. Over here, there is calculation, there is a pure valuation of the swap that you have to do. Interest rate future is also calculation driven. So definitely heavy, heavy calculation part. Also, properties of interest rate is also calculation driven. So we have given you the overview of book three. Let me take you towards book four. When we talk about book four now, okay, the if you read the name, it's valuation and risk model. So if you read the first three chapter, they're focusing on VAR and what all things can impact VAR. So first chapter, measure of financial risk, they talk about what is VAR, how is VAR calculated, expected shortfall calculated, all of these things. Okay. And it's a very important chapter for the exam perspective. Now, if you want to do this, you should be doing modern portfolio theory from book one immediately before you do measure of financial risk. Why? Because the first part, the portfolio theory and all, is connected to that chapter. Okay. Calculating and applying VAR, this is one step higher when you're looking at VAR for a portfolio level. Because in the previous chapter, it was only the introduction. This is the application of that VAR logic of how stress testing scenario analysis can enhance your calculation for VAR, how do you do Monte Carlo simulation. So theoretical, there's no calculation as such over here, but the logic is that it is basically taking you one step ahead. Next is measuring and monitoring volatility. Why volatility? Volatility is nothing but standard deviation. When you calculate VAR, one of the important component in that is volatility. So this chapter is focusing on how do you calculate volatility, historical volatility, implied volatility, all of these things. Interesting, and it is connected to VAR calculation. Next, there are a few standalone chapters, internal, external rating. There's some calculation, but I have not seen calculation from this chapter being tested heavily in the exam. The focus is to tell you what is the external credit risk, internal credit rating, and how do they do it, what are the parameters they do take into account. Broader overview, not into detail. Country risk, again, in real life, banks do assess sovereign risk in detail. But over here, the idea is to give you an introduction of country related risk. Again, theoretical, very, very easy chapter. Measure of credit risk important because the concept of expected and unexpected loss, which is used in real life in bank. The formula is important, the calculation is important. So calculation driven chapter. Next is operation risk. You have entire full book of 25 chapters in level 2 on this concept. This is just an introduction of how broader level the companies manage their operation risk, people, process, system, and external event. Stress testing, this is a process which is used by banks where they take few parameters like say interest rate, volatility. They try to give stress to that and see how my portfolio is getting impacted. They check that. And this is important from the real life application perspective because you have stress testing teams in banks right now. So the intention is to give you an overview. Again, these 3, 4 chapters are not with the intention to go into deep dive. Their intention is to give you an overview. From here, you're going to be starting with bond valuation. This is where the calculation is very heavy. Entire chapter is heavy calculation. Over here, this is the first chapter focusing on the basics of the calculation for bond valuation. Then how interest rate, because when you're doing bond valuation, you're taking present value. If your interest rate changes, your value changes. So how do you find interest rate? Okay, should we go and check swap rates, forward rate, par rate, spot rate? What rate should we use to do the discounting? So focus is more on that rate of interest. Okay, bond yields and return calculation. When you're holding a bond portfolio, you're buying a bond and you're selling a bond. How do you calculate your returns? Okay, and what is the driving factor of that return? Is it capital gains? Is it a dividend income? Is it a coupon income? So that is also discussed in this section. YTM is important. YTM is widely used in your fixed income desk. So if you plan to move to say fixed income related jobs in the future, these chapters are important. Now, till this point, they were just talking about bond valuation. How do you value a portfolio bond or how do you value a single bond? From here, from this chapter, they are moving into bond hedging. They're saying that okay, if you already have a portfolio of bond, how do you protect it? Because if the interest rate goes up, the bond value goes down. How do we make sure that the bond portfolio is protected? So that is where the duration convexity, you can see that duration was also there in the previous chapter in book 3. So these two chapters are more from the perspective of hedging. So I do these two chapters, then these 3 chapters together, and the book 3, 2 chapters, properties of interest rate and interest rate futures together. That is my plan. The last is option valuation. This is where, so there are 3 chapters on this option valuation. I do this immediately after I've completed option. Because what they're trying to tell you is how do we calculate the price of the option? So there is a Black-Scholes model, and the precursor of Black-Scholes model is binomial tree. Binomial tree is very basic calculation. This is tested in the exam. Binomial tree is important, okay, especially the two-step binomial tree. Then Black-Scholes model is a formula which is for which certain people got Nobel Prize also. So it's a very important formula in the market, helping you to reach towards a good pricing for an option product. So they have discussed more in detail. And the option Greek means what factors are going to impact the price of the option. Okay, volatility is going to impact, your interest rate is going to impact, your underlying asset is going to impact. So they've created Greeks for each one of them. Easy chapter. There are big formulas in the chapter, but you don't need to read everything. Specific formula which I will tell you, focus on only on that. Rest you can skip, and you can still clear the exam. It's not not everything is not tested. Okay. So with this, I've given you the overview of all the four books. Any queries if you have any queries, students? A few people I'm answering the query. Bharat, we might have a discount for few students. Definitely, you can reach us on WhatsApp and we'll try to see whatever best is possible. What is the difference between the video lecture and live course? Live course means you are attending the live session on Saturdays and Sundays. The video lecture students are only going to prepare on their own. So definitely they'll have to make sure that the motivation is high and they can get in touch with me, but they cannot attend the live section. The video lecture students. Okay. Himanshu, I've already shared the uh, pricing for the different package. What you can also do is you can reach out to me on WhatsApp. I'll share the details with you. Okay, for video lecture, that means standard, professional, and all in one package. Is Python machine learning course required in addition for FRM? Not in 2023. We never know what is going to happen in 2024. But right now, that is not required. So don't worry. For next week portion, yes, we're going to be doing two chapters: building blocks of risk management and corporate bond, which is going to be in on our learning management system. Okay. Saransh, answering to your query, Swagger book. Read the Swagger book. That is more than enough for FRM exam. What should I do before the next week's lecture? You should watch the video, identify your doubts. Those videos are already added. Paras, I have answered the query. You have to watch the video, read the Swagger book. Okay. Akhil, I'm not going to follow any book. I'm going to follow my own order of preparation. I've answered the query. I hope everybody is addressed. Any specific query which the students might have, I'm there to help them. Don't worry. Any specific query? I hope this session was useful for you guys in terms of understanding the exam. All of my live session is going to be now on my learning management system, and every live session is recorded. On Monday, we upload the video. So if you have missed the lecture, you can watch the video again. That's not an issue. Yes, the timing is as per India time. Yeah. Okay. It seems that everybody's good. So we're going to be closing the session. Thank you very much for joining in uh, at this time and taking out time and being a part of this discussion. Answering to the last query, are your videos sufficient? People have been able to clear the exam by watching my video and reading Swedger and solving my question. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. I'm going to be closing the session now. In case if there is any query, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp number. My number is over here. I hope everybody is able to see it on the screen now. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for joining in. Thank you.